Welcome to the You Can Do Hard Things podcast, where we show you that you can do hard things. We truly believe that anyone watching this has been equipped and is capable of doing hard things. And what we found out is that usually the hard things in life are what brings us the greatest joy. So today I have two of my very special friends and some of the highest executioners that I know. To my left here, I have Stetson Soffer, and to my right, I have Jack Pastrana.
Yo.
And today, I brought them on here because I believe that these two are some of the highest people that are executing at a high level in the solar industry. So I want to give them a quick bio and kind of just so you guys understand the credibility that they have to be talking on the subject of executing at a high level. So Stetson Soffer, year-to-date numbers. Check this out. Year-to-date numbers. 216 solar accounts sold.
I'm out of here.
So right now we are in September of 2021, and he's already sold over 200 accounts with a whole quarter to go. Right, he still has October, November, and December, and he's already sold over 216. Sold over a megawatt, which in California, a megawatt is a lot. So to all you people selling in Texas and Florida, that is the equivalent of selling 2 megawatts because we have small system averages here in Southern California. Stetson also leads the #1 office in Legacy. The Vista office has sold over 1,000 accounts year to date as well. His office sells more, I would argue, than a lot of solar companies out there. So Stetson is an individual that doesn't just operate a high level in personal sales, but also at a high level as a leader of his organization. Also newly married, got married
that's right,
like a month or two ago.
Yeah, June 16th.
Still sold over 20 accounts.
That's right.
The month he got married, which is nuts.
Rookie year of marriage.
Yes.
There you go.
And to my right, I have Jack Pastrana, also another leader in the solar industry. Jack Pastrana, year to date, has sold over 160 accounts. Again, September 2022. While being a husband and while being a father, which I think that is remarkable, that he can operate at a high level in business and sales, but still operate as a good husband and as a good father. I remember yesterday we were texting and he was like talking about how he went through couples therapy, which I think is dope that he does that he's being proactive in his marriage. So operating high level, also leads one of the top offices in our company, Legacy Power, the San Diego office, with over 800 sales on the year. So
Let's go.
Both of these guys, just high executioners, high levels. I know I'll give you guys quite an intro, but tell us a little bit about you guys, about your upbringings, kind of what got you into solar, kind of why you're here. I mean, you guys didn't just already start operating at a high level. You guys have already been operating at a high level prior to solar, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so 28 years old, living in San Diego, California. Just bought my first home in San Marcos. Me and my wife just got it.
Come on.
But yeah, my upbringing, I was born in New York City, but I only lived there as a baby. I grew up in Poway, California, the suburbs. My mom and dad raised me right. My dad is from the Middle East. My mom is like blue collar from Oregon. So I had kind of like the dynamic of like an immigrant father and then like your classic American mom, and they're both super hardworking, and I owe a lot of my success to those two.
Wow.
They're two polar opposite individuals, but I feel like the mix of the two of them raising me, it worked out pretty well for me. Definitely growing up, I was not what you'd call a high performer. I was the kid that was falling asleep in class, showing up late to practice. My coaches, my football and basketball coaches were always getting on me. And it wasn't until I was 19, 20 years old to where like I realized like, I think it's my fault that I'm not successful. Like it's not the coach's fault. It's not my teammates' fault. It's no one else's fault but my own. And so my upbringing was a lot of just like constantly like getting somewhere and then having setbacks due to my own self-sabotage of, like I said, not doing my homework, going to practice late, stuff like that. And that all led up to this point where I found Legacy through my wife Nadia knowing Jordan, who was on the podcast last week, and he recruited me. He got me on here. It was really hard at first. It was like jumping in ice cold water, joining a solar sales team like this where you got to knock on people's doors. But slowly but surely, I started to figure it out that like, hey, this is how you do things. and I just applied myself, and here I am today. I feel like I'm the best in the game, and it's not just because of me. It's because of the way my mom and dad raised me. It's because of guys like you, John, Jack, Jordan, Malik, guys I get to work with, and I'm just forever grateful that I'm in this position.
You said something in your intro about ownership.
Yeah.
You were like, when you said 20, that's when you figured out like the results I'm getting is me.
Yep.
Right. And let's put a bookmark on that because I'm sure we want to hear Jack's kind of story. But I would love to talk about ownership because ownership is huge if you want to be an individual that can do hard things. You got to first look yourself in the mirror and said, I am where I am today because of me.
Yep.
And whether that's a good life, cool, it's your fault. If it's not the life you want, it's also your fault. So let's. I would love to talk about ownership and hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, that's crazy. So shout out to Stetson, man. He's one of the reasons why I grind so hard. But
I love how both of you guys just give each other honor.
I mean,
Oh, we do.
yeah. But so it's crazy because I love this industry. Sales in general, because we kind of have polar opposite stories, right? Like where I grew up, I'm from San Diego, California, born and raised. My mom passed away when I was 10 years old, right? And it was just my dad. And my dad, if you guys ever met my dad's like my older brother. Like he's maybe like my little brother. He's a knucklehead. Like he's just, so that was really rough on him all of a sudden because I have two sisters and myself, and now everything's on him. And he was doing his best, but he started struggling with addiction and things like that. So then we grew up rough, like water get cut off, lights get cut off, right? And it was just, I was just in the streets really, right? And I kind of did that. I ended up graduating, went to the Learning Center, right? Ended up graduating, and my oldest sister Yeli always looked out for me. I get a call one day and it's a bank saying, hey, we got your application. And I'm like, the heck? I didn't apply. My sister applied for me, right? She knows all my information, obviously. I actually worked at a bank for 7 years. And my friends, all my friends, from hanging out, they would call me the educated brother from the bank, from New Jack City, the dude. So anyways, yeah. So then, but I was just always in the streets, running around, getting in trouble. I got in a lot of trouble. Ended up getting incarcerated once, twice, 3 times. I went to prison 2 times, right? And it was so crazy because it kind of similar moment where I was in the back of our probation officer's car. And he told me, he said, you know what? And it's crazy. I don't remember his name, but he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, there's people in life that go very extreme at all levels, right? Go very extreme in whatever they're doing. He's like, and I could tell you're really, really smart. It's just you've chosen to go like all in on this type of lifestyle. Wow. He told me, imagine if you went all in on something that's going to benefit your life. Mm-hmm. And it was so crazy. And literally he's taking me to jail as he's telling me this. And I was just like, that is crazy. It was like an epiphany. Yeah. And I just made a decision. And I got out, and I've always been like fighting against, because I felt like I lost so much time. Right, I feel like I've lost so much time, so I'm like always like, I need to make up for time, right? I can't go get the corporate job, I can't go back to the bank, things like that. So I'm like, what can I do to really excel in life? And I got introduced to network marketing, and the thing is that I used to pride myself because I'm like, I went through all of high school without reading one book. Like I remember being proud of that, like, because I actually got good grades. But I remember I was proud of that, and then I got introduced to the personal development realm, and everyone's reading books. And I'm like, what the heck? People do that, right? And I'm just starting getting introduced to like Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and just all these people, right? And it just completely transformed my life. So shout out to network marketing, right? Because it really taught me and built me up, and about putting in the work to get the reward, later on. Yeah. And I was a barber, still building network marketing. COVID hit. I went from doing 15 cuts a day to 15 cuts a month, right? So money was very, very short. And then someone I cut his hair actually was in this company. I went to our office to go cut his hair. And our boy Jake Ransom, which was also here last week, he's a bald-headed guy. You guys have probably seen him. He comes and pulls a chair up. He's like, I'm next, right, to get a haircut. And he just tells me, he's like, Jack, when are you going to come sell solar with us? And I was like, bro, I'm high-key down. right? And then I came to Correlation the next week, and then, I mean, the rest is history. The what I did, and people like see me and they think I'm like some like phenomenon that came in and just started crushing it. But I was doing sales for 7 years before I ever came into solar.
Right.
But now I'm actually doing something that is helping people. It makes perfect sense if you're in anywhere really. Yeah. And
that's great. Something that you said that was so good and reminded me of something that Grant Cardone said. That conversation you had with the parole officer. Grant Cardone, and I forget his book, one of the more recent ones, or one of the first ones he ever made, but in it he talked about how everybody has obsession, right? Or everybody has an addictive personality, right? Naturally, when we think of an addictive personality, we think of someone who does drugs, who drinks alcohol, right? Like that's naturally what we think of, like, oh, that person has an addictive personality. But Grant Cardone says, no, all of us have an addictive personality. It's just that what we choose to give an addiction to, right? Some people choose to give an addiction to TV. Some choose to give an addiction to alcohol. Some choose to give an addiction to going out and hitting the clubs, right? And then some, like you guys, choose to give an addiction to your work, right? To providing extraordinary service. And when you make that switch, of, you know what, that's right, I do have an addictive personality, but I'm gonna be addicted for the right things. I mean, it can dramatically change your life. And what I love about both of you guys' story, it sounds like there's a component where your foundation, there was struggle, right? There was struggle, and I want to talk about that because I feel like a lot of people want to run away from the struggle. I think a lot of people think that, oh, if you're struggling or if you're failing currently, that must mean something's wrong. Right. But I feel like really in the struggle is where you're forged. Right. I mean, I didn't know you guys both, when you were younger, but I would venture to say that those struggles is a huge reason why you are where you're at today. Right. I mean, what would you guys say on like the topic of struggles? Like for people to do hard things, they're going to have to be okay with going through the struggles.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to. I mean, if you want to see results in the gym, you have to break your muscles down. And it's the same thing. If you want to do anything and be successful at it, you have to be consistent. And if you want to be consistent, it's going to be hard. If anything in life is easy and you're easily doing it and it's consistent, it's probably not going to yield you any results that are going to get you forward in life.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and what we do in terms of sales and knocking doors, or whether it's even in the gym, Jack works out, I know you work out, I work out, even there, we know that we have to push ourselves. We have to do the hard things in order to get the results that we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the struggle, I feel like the struggle is everything. Yeah. Honestly, the struggle is everything. Like nothing, I mean, the name of the podcast, right? Like you can do hard things. We're taught that like everything, the way you are is okay, right? We're taught, like, especially in today's world, the way you are is okay. No, if you're sad and you're depressed, and that's not okay.
It's not, and it's your fault, right?
Exactly.
People need to look in the mirror and say, no, it's my fault.
Yeah.
It's not the government's fault. It's not my parents' fault. It's me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like the struggle I went through, losing my mom young and all of that, I mean, and it was really hard, but that's built me into who I am today, right? So it's like going through the struggle and just coming out that polished gem at the end of the road. Like I tell our people on the doors, like I'll tell our office, I'm like, look, I want you to get beat up on the doors. Yeah. Like not physically, obviously, but I want you to go through the trenches. I want you people to yell at you, slam the door in your face. Like you have to go through that, right? Because if you come in and you're just a superstar right away, and then you're just first week you make, 20,000 and this and that, I'm like looking at that person like, dang, what happens when the struggle comes, right? Are they gonna be like, oh, well, I made 30 racks and then they bounce? Like, no, the struggle is where character is built. Yeah. Right, period.
It's funny you say that because I've seen, in this industry, I've seen more people actually taken out by prosperity than the struggle. You're right. I've seen guys who they come in, they're hot, they have a few good months, and then they get hit hard with struggles, right? They go through a dry spell. They go through every customer's canceling, and then that challenge is what actually gets them to quit and like, or go somewhere else, or plant the roots somewhere else. For you guys, I mean, you guys right now are operating at a high level, right? I mean, I would argue that you two are for sure top 5 solar salesmen in the whole industry. And someone fact check me on that. Please find someone that's doing more than between 160, 180, 160? 160 to 215, right? More than beat Stetson, 215. I mean, those are some remarkable numbers year to date, September 2022. But since you guys are at a high level, what would you guys say is your struggle now? I mean, I'm sure you don't struggle with the same things today. I mean, money probably isn't much of a struggle for you, right? You guys have more than enough to probably take the next few years off. Both of you guys were clear over $1 million this year, right? And you guys are both young. And so what's it like for you guys now? Like, I'm just curious, what's your struggle like now? What do you struggle with today?
I mean, one of the things that I struggle with currently is just finding like a structure to my life. Because when you work the job that we work, you can find yourself working early mornings and late nights, and you don't have any time in the middle of the day to do a nice little podcast like this. But you don't have time in the middle of the day to work out, or to have lunch with your wife, or whatever it may be, hang out with a friend. That for me currently is the struggle that I'm trying to find, because I have no plans on slowing down in terms of the volume that I'm putting up, but I do want to restructure what I'm doing so that I don't feel like I'm running myself into the ground. Not to say that I feel that I am currently, but I feel there were parts of this year where I definitely was. And so that's what I'm struggling with right now. I want to get back into the gym. I've been working out on and off this entire year. I'd go to the gym for a week, and then I would take a week off. I'd go to the gym for 3 days. I would take 2 weeks off. And so things like that, I just want to have, I go like 3 months without hanging out with a certain friend that I used to see every day, things like that. So structure and balance, while still operating at a high level, is what I'm currently struggling with.
Sounds like to me you can summarize that in one word: delegation.
Yep.
Maybe that's what it is learning. I mean, that's been my struggle.
Yeah.
Learning how to delegate.
Yep.
Right. How to come into this and be like, okay, what are the things that somebody else can do at least 80% as good as me?
Yeah.
And I think with you guys probably have like a perfection mindset, like maybe like me, right? Like we're like, no, I have to do it because only I can do it this good. But in reality, I've learned that if somebody can do it at least 80% as good as you should delegate that. And you should be only focusing on the things that only you can do.
Yeah.
Right. And that's been my struggle. Yeah. Right. And on the gym, Stetson, I hope your calves still look as good as they always have.
Luckily, my calves are genetic. Yes. So I don't have to do anything for those. So those are still there.
I wish I could have you flex, but Stetson has some of the best calves that you will ever see. It's not
amazing,
fair.
Amazing.
It's not fair. Like, I can't have shorts around them.
It
just makes me look.
And that's why he could dunk the way he can dunk, right? Just the springs.
Best solar numbers in the game and the best calves in the game.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I echo, right, really what Stetson's saying. When you do like crazy amount of numbers, right? I think last month, you did 36, I did 34, right? When you're doing that type of numbers, you can always work. You will get an email from our installer at 6 a.m. Right? Yep. I need to focus on opening my Bible app first before I start checking emails, things like that. But really just finding a balance, right? Finding a balance and be able to spend time, with my wife, with my son. And really that's what I struggle with, and I've been really leaning into, delegation, getting a personal assistant. My wife just got a personal assistant to help her with some things around the house. She also still works part-time. Yeah. And it's funny because for her, having a little one, he'll be 2 in November. Malachi, shout out Malachi. That like, she says her days at work are kind of like rest. Right? Because it's very structured. She works at a bank, very structured, do this. And then, so just delegation. And one thing I heard, I don't know if I heard this somewhere or I might have made it up. Kind of cool if I did now. But like a smart person learns from their mistakes, but a wise person learns from other people's, right? And like, I know you, John, you've been in the industry for a while, and you've been performing at a very high level for a long time. And I remember you were telling me, like, it took me, several years to learn about delegation because you could do everything. So I'm trying to cut down that time frame and kind of learn on your behalf. But it's difficult. It's difficult because, I know how to do it, like you said,
Right.
and just to give it to someone else, and if it's not done, like,
because it's like you view it as this is my baby, right?
Yeah.
This is my baby.
We built this.
I
We
built
built
this.
this.
I did this. I sacrificed so much for it, and it's hard to be like to this other person, like, okay, you got this. Please help. Please assistant, help this get to install. Like I worked so hard to get this sale, right?
Yeah.
It's hard, but if we want to go to the next level, because there's always gonna be a next level.
yeah.
Right. We have to look at delegation. I heard this somewhere where I always thought that we all had the same 24 hours. Right. People always say like, oh no, everyone has the same 24 hours. And I heard this person shed a different perspective. And he was like, that's true. Not everybody has 24 hours. You look at a guy like Elon Musk. Elon Musk does not have 24 hours in a day. Elon Musk has probably thousands of hours in a day. And then they were saying like, well, how? They're like, because Elon Musk has hundreds of people that are doing work for him. And when you combine all those 24 hours, right?
Balls.
That's why he can get so much done.
Yeah.
Because he's using other people's times to fulfill his vision, his goals, whatever that is. I would argue Elon Musk is not making his own meals. He's not doing his laundry, right? He's definitely not driving because of the Tesla, right? Shout out to autopilot.
Yeah.
But, so I do feel like, on the topic of struggle, like I do think for us to get to an even higher level, we do have to learn delegation. And I find that a lot of people in this industry struggle with delegation, right? Struggle with like, okay, let me really think about what I can outsource and be okay with like letting it go. I remember when I first went from district manager to regional manager, it was hard to give up my role as because the district manager, at least in the solar industry, like that role is the main kind of authority figure in that office, right? The district manager is the one that calls like kind of like the day-to-day shots, right? When you get into higher than that, you're kind of you're calling more of like the big picture shots. But I remember it was hard to relinquish that control and be like, okay, this office is no longer really my baby. Like I'm now passing it off to this person, and I hope this person can run.
Now your grandbaby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I become a grandfather.
Yeah.
Now it's like I hope this person can run just as good as correlations as I did, or can recruit as well as I did, or interview as well as I did, and it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard to like literally just do this and just low key was like my hope for the best, and it doesn't always work out, but you do it long enough, eventually it runs. And when I was in network marketing, I remember I learned something about you want to have a starfish organization, not a spider organization. And what they meant by that was a spider has 8 legs, right? If you, however, cut the head off, the whole thing dies. A starfish, though, also has about 8 legs, but if you cut, there is no head. If you cut any of the legs off, though,
That's good.
What's actually going to happen is that leg will, like a starfish is one of the few animals in the whole world that can regenerate a limb. It will actually regenerate a limb. So I remember that it's like have a starfish organization to where if you are taken out, the organization will still flourish, right? And I mean, you guys have been great at that, right? Because again, like I said earlier, you guys are doing great personal numbers, but you're also doing great numbers as an office, right? And I think a lot of people in solar have great personal numbers, but they're not necessarily leading a big team. They're not duplicating themselves into others. So.
I would say real quick that one thing also regarding the delegation is like, I mean, we didn't come from money. Right. So one thing about delegating, hiring someone, right, is like you're making really good money, but I've never made this type of money before. So then that fear could kind of come in too, where you think that you're saving money by doing it yourself. But what I've come to realize is if I'm doing like little tedious things that I shouldn't be doing, whether it's email management or whatever, that's actually costing me money. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want to hire this person and pay them XYZ dollars an hour. So I think I'm gonna do it myself, and I think I'm saving money, but I'm really not, because if I could let go of that, then I could focus more on what I'm really good at. Like it's just like if I know I have friends that will do their own breaks, right? And then they'll take 2-3 hours to do their breaks, and I just think like, what I could do in 3 hours or what I could make in 3 hours. So that's something that I've started to realize, like I just need to pull the trigger and hire these people because it's going to free up my time, and that my time is
it's
better
going to make
used.
you more money actually.
Exactly.
Because it might cost you, let's say $5,000, whatever, throw a number out there. But what if that investment makes you 15,000?
Yeah.
There you go.
Because now you can spend more time doing what only you can do.
Yeah.
You know, I know the Jewish community. Shout out to Stetson.
Shout out to my dad.
Shout out to your dad. The Jewish community, I read this in a book, Business Secrets of the Bible. They talk about specialization. And it's the whole concept of focus on what you're good at. And the reason we as a society the reason why the world is what it is today is because we focus in specialization, right? Like, luckily, I'm not out there hunting for my food. I'm not out there making my own clothes. Yeah. I'm not out there mining for lithium for my Tesla or my phone, right? And it's because specialization says that, hey, you do what you're good at, I'll do what I'm good at, and we'll trade.
Yeah.
Right? And the Jewish community is great at that. You know, if you actually look at the Jewish community, they say that money circulates within their community 7 times before it leaves the community. Because in the Jewish community, if you're like, I need someone to change my brakes, instead of me doing it and saving $100, but spending 2 hours doing it, they say, okay, who in my community is good at, who has a auto mechanic store or whatever, and cool, I'll pay them, but then I can focus on what I'm good at. Or if they need a lawyer, they go to a Jewish lawyer. They need a dentist, right? And they're good at that, and that's why Jewish people most of them are pretty successful and wealthy, because they understand specialization. They understand that their time is very important, and they say, no, if this is not what I'm good at, this is not what I'm called to do, I need to delegate to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, so delegation.
Yeah, I am in the process of hiring a assistant.
I've been telling you. For
I
a
know,
long time,
and I'm finally in the process. I've narrowed it down to a couple people.
Good.
And they've been in the solar account management game, so they know they're specialized in progressing solar accounts forward. So I wasn't.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because you guys should not be on the phone for 30 minutes. Right plan.
No,
that's time wasted.
I know.
Right.
I know.
I mean, you really shouldn't.
Yeah. No. 100%. I'm in the process. It's gonna get.
Stats. Whoever you choose, just shoot me the number 2.
I definitely will.
Shoot me the number 2.
I got you.
Let's
bro.
go.
I got you.
Yeah, I'll do it too. 200 kilowatt though per deal.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit more than I was talking about.
No, it's like $100,000 a year if you install like 500 kilowatts. So, what would you guys say? Here's another kind of switching conversation. What would you guys say to a person who wakes up and they want to perform at a high level, but they feel stuck? You know, they say things like, "I'm depressed." Mm-hmm. What would you guys say to that individual? Like, how can that person get out of where they're at and perform at a high level, whether it's in solar, whether it's wherever it's at, right? I feel like our generation, we say things like depression. Like, I mean, I think depression is not real, or let me rephrase. I think the solution is in medication. Right. First of all, I think it's a mindset thing. But what would you guys say to that individual?
Well, I feel one of the first things is you have to change your environment, right? Yep. If you're waking up and you're in your gloomy room and you feel depressed, or even if you're waking up and you're in a skyscraper with floor to ceiling windows, you need to change your environment. You need to change who you're around. You need to change what you're doing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then the biggest thing is your mindset. You have to work on your mindset. If you're not working on your mindset, what does that look like for you, Jack? Practically, what does it mean to work on your mindset? I'm listening to audios daily, right? I'll listen to audio books. I will pick up a book every once in a while, but I swear, like I'm a very light sleeper and I can't fall asleep, like just my whole life, right? But the moment I open up the book, I'm like what the heck? It's 1 p.m. How am I dozing off? So I'd hear a lot of audio and just really taking notes on what it's saying. Right, taking notes on what it's saying and thinking about how can I apply this in my life, right? And just really just speaking truth to myself, right? Speaking truth to myself. I'm a believer as well, and just listening to what the Bible's saying. And realistically, every personal development book I've ever seen is based from the Bible. I'm just like, 100%. Where have I read this before, right? Yeah. But just really working on yourself and realizing that. Like God is in us, right? Like he said, like the Holy Spirit lives in us, and we're powerful. We're very, very powerful, and we have the ability to speak life, right? The power of the tongue. So, we might say good things to other people, but like, are we saying that to ourselves? right? Are we telling ourselves who we are? Or who we are in God, or whatever you guys believe. I don't want to push anything, but telling yourself who you are and saying that every day.
Wow.
Right? And we did it yesterday at Correlation, the incantation, right? Because you could say, and I love yours, I'm alive, I'm alert, and I feel great, right? But if you say that, you're just like, I look around our Correlation, sometimes some people are like, I'm alive, I'm alert, and like no, you have to say it, you have to feel it, you have to mean it, right? You have to make yourself, and people will use the term fake it till you make it or whatever, like, it's okay, whatever you have to do. It's not being fake. It's saying, hey, I don't like the situation I'm in right now. And you just have to move, right? You just have to move, whatever that looks like, mentally or physically from that situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. I would say the exact same thing about what's your everyday look like? What is your environment? You have to change your mindset. And just to add to that, it's like what's that saying about insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is like the definition of insanity. And that's what I would say to someone who's feeling depressed. Are you doing the same exact thing every day?
Yeah.
Or are you willing to change your environment, put yourself in an uncomfortable situation? And then secondly, I would just say, look, you need to humble yourself and be coachable. I think that's what I would say to that's what I said to myself however many years ago. Is like you need to just humble yourself, and if you're not where you want to be, then you should put yourself in a position to be around someone that is going in a life direction that you want to be going towards.
Yeah.
And so and I think depressed people, I don't want to speak on everyone, but most of the time they're in a mindset of like the world's against me, I can't figure this out. Nothing goes my way, yada yada, and it's just like, no, bro, look, just humble yourself. This is a superhero movie, and it's about you. This is your moment right now. And in all superhero movies, they always got someone, right, that is like, guiding them to. Batman has got Alfred, and Tony Stark has his butler guy, Happy, and whatever. And it's like, this is the moment where you need to humble yourself. You need to try to find someone that can help you, steer you in the right direction. And whether that's a real person or whether that's YouTube, some podcast that you listen to, whatever it is, find a way. And anyone that's depressed that's listening to this is a superhero movie, and this is the part in the movie where you change your life around.
Come on.
So good.
Yeah,
that's so good.
Yeah, that's not.
Star.
By the way, Joe Rogan said that one time. I don't want to make it sound like I took that. I heard Joe Rogan.
Joe who? Nah, just kidding.
That's right.
Yeah. I think Joe Rogan stole it from you.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He's a
so
time
powerful.
traveler.
Yeah,
He just saw this in advance, and
Yeah, there we go.
That's so.
if
that's
I could
so
be a
powerful.
superhero, I would be Iron Man. How about you? How about you guys?
Ooh, it's very close for me between Iron Man and Batman. Who I'd want to be. My favorite all-time superhero though is Wolverine. I wouldn't want to be
that's
Wolverine
mine.
though. I don't think I'd want
That's
to
my
be
favorite.
because he's just always mad and like, I don't know. If
He died the last movie.
I
Like,
don't
what the
know.
heck?
Batman, Tony Stark, they're like rich and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like that would be cooler
Tony
to be.
Stark is
Yeah, Tony Stark, Iron Man's kind of next level.
yeah.
Although I kind of want to switch it up, man. I'm gonna be Thanos. Thanos is a
What?
savage. Like just crushing everything, right?
Well, we know how it ends. I defeat you. So
There we go.
That's great. I mean, on the whole, you have to change your environment, right? When we talk, so people who are depressed or people who feel stuck, whatever you want to call it. And you're right. I think one of the best ways to do it is to find, like you said, be coachable, but find a mentor. And the crazy thing about our generation is that we have so many resources available. I remember my first mentor ever was Jim Rohn. Mm-hmm. When I got into network marketing in 2012, right? Jim Rohn was my first mentor. I remember there was this audio book, or this CD called Building Your Network Marketing Business. And it was like a little over an hour long. And it was a CD. And I remember I would play it in my 2001 red Ford Mustang convertible, GT baby. That was the car I rocked. Yeah, my little
before
convertible.
the plaid.
Yeah, before the plaid. Yeah. The baby before the baby. So, and I remember I would listen to it literally over and over and over because he became like my mentor. I was like, I want to talk like him, think like him, act like him. And I listened to this hour-long CD. I wish I still had it. I wish I did. I would have framed it or something because that was my first kind of mentor, right? And I think people, they're like, oh, well, I don't know somebody. You don't need to.
Yeah.
The internet, go on the internet. You can literally get coached by Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Grant Cardone, Brad Lee, right? There's a lot of guys out there, girls, that can coach you in whatever you want to be successful at, right? Because depression, I feel like it's just a reflection of what's going on in here. And if you're depressed, if you feel stuck, I would argue to say that it's because you're not doing the work to put the good stuff in your mind. I think it's almost impossible to be listening to podcasts, reading books, expressing gratitude, hanging around good people, and then still feel depressed. Yeah. Right? I think it's almost impossible to really do that. But we have to be willing to do the work, right? Because I also find that the higher you go, the more tempting it is to stop doing those things. To stop doing the small things that got you the results that you want, right? So, I mean, what would you guys say are some ways that you stay consistent? Right? How do you stay consistent? Because you guys are operating at high levels, but you're still pushing the boundaries of what's possible, right? Your best month was what, 40? It
was 40.
40, right? I mean, which is crazy, right? Yeah. I think I've only heard of a handful of people that have ever done 40 accounts in a month, which is awesome. Your best quarter, you did like 90 something, right? Which also, that's great, to have a big quarter or a big month, but let alone a big quarter. And the same with Jack, right? I mean, you've done over 70, 80 in a quarter, maybe 90, I'm not sure, 100. Who knows? Who's counting at this point, right? So, I mean, how have you guys stayed consistent, right, over the years?
I would say, for me, it's like, look, there's part of me, you guys know me, I'm a very confident guy. I grew up watching the Rocky movies, the James Bond movies, the superhero movies that we're talking about. I grew up, and part of me at all times is always like that. I'm just in this state of like being excellent. But then there's a part of me, and you guys know the Stetson I was driving, the Sentra, the Stetson that didn't know what a kilowatt was, that didn't, I had a flat tire and I couldn't pay for it. Shout out to my boy Malik. Malik had to pay for me to fix my flat tire when I got my first solar deal. Thank you, Malik. But that Stetson is still in me. And so I would attribute a lot of my consistency to that, is I still am in that state of mind of I got something to prove. And it's not to anyone else, it's to myself.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of like, it sounds like you're grateful for where you're at, but you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
Like in a way, in your mind, you're like, I'm still broke.
Yeah.
Right? Like exactly. I'm still not like, and it's true, if you think about it in comparison to a Jeff Bezos, we're all poverty, third world country broke, right? Yeah. When we compare what we've done to a Jeff Bezos, right? And it's kind of having that mindset of like, I'm grateful, obviously. Like I'm happy for what I have. I'm happy that I no longer drive a Sentra. Yeah. Right?
Shout out to the Sentra.
Yeah, shout out to the Sentra. But you're like, I don't want to stop where I'm at, right? You're like, no, this is not. And it's because it's tempting. That's been kind of my recent struggle right now is to be comfortable where you're like, I can breathe. You know, I have enough money to where if I don't work for the next 6, 12, 18 months, like I'm good. Yeah. So.
And then the only other thing, sorry, I just wanted to add is like when Jack talked about making up time, I feel like I lost my early 20s to just doing nonsense jobs and this and that. So that's the other thing I wanted to add to being consistent is I feel like I'm making up all that time. Yeah.
I love what you said because one of my mentors, his name is Sachin from South Africa, and that was his thing. When like he's like top person, like hit the top rank 4 times, just an absolute killer. And they asked him, they were like, why are you still doing what you're doing? He said the difference between me and my people and you guys, he's like, all my people, we work like we're broke. Wow. Right? Yeah. He's like, we're still out here working like we're broke. We're out here doing presentations, right? At 1 a.m, when you're making that like a significant amount of money like we make now, it's like you do lose that sometimes. And one of my favorite lines ever, when Bane first comes up against Batman and Batman's trying to go in on him, and then he catches his fist and he's just like, victory has defeated you, right? He's like, you've been on top too long. Like you're soft now, right? Bane came from the darkness.
And that hit me.
Victor, and that's what I see. Like, I don't want victory to defeat me. And it is a struggle. It is a struggle also staying consistent, right? But one thing that keeps me consistent is, like I said, seeing Stetson put up these numbers, and like me and Stetson for a long time were right here, and then he just I'm like, no, but just being part of our company and just the motivation, our correlations, and just being around people that want the best for you and are performing at a high level. And just recently what's changed for me is because like you hear stories of like, I just heard the audio today and they were like, this lady was talking and she's really successful now, but she was talking, she's saying, yeah, my speech teacher, like, I don't know if you guys ever had teachers like this, but I did it. She's like, my speech teacher told me you should never talk in person ever again, right? And then my math teacher told me I was stupid. I'm like, dang, what type of teachers these people have? But you know, and then obviously they moved past that. And for me, it was almost like I never had that, but I always like in my mind, there was a bunch of people because of my past that were saying negative things about me, right? I like made these people up and I'm going to prove them wrong. Who are those people? They don't exist. Wow. Yeah. But I realized that's coming from like almost like I need to prove them wrong. But I recently switched to, I want to prove all the people that supported me and loved me all these years. I want to prove them right. Yeah. Right. I want to prove them right. All these people that believed in me, my wife, Jenny, shout out to my wife, Jenny. Like all these people, all these years, like while I was a knucklehead and we were making any money and all this, all these people that believed in me, my family, I want to prove them right. So forget all these people because, you know what I mean? Like the haters are always going to be there. Yeah. But I want to prove these people right. And one of those people is myself, right? Myself. Right. And then like that, my old parole officer, I don't even remember his name. I mean, I could probably find out, but like low key, I want to prove him right too. Wow. He had no idea what he said to me. That little thing he said to me completely like flipped the script for me. Fire. Right.
Love is a more powerful motivator than
hate. Exactly.
Right? That's awesome. No, and I love what you said earlier, Jack, about Bane. I'm seeing a theme here where you like the bad guys, by the way. Victory has defeated you. I mean, my mentor, one day he said, and it stuck with me all these years. He said, for every 50 people that can handle adversity, right? Which it's hard to find someone that can handle adversity. He says, out of those people, though, only one of them can handle prosperity. And he says, prosperity or victory, success, whatever you want to call it, takes out more people than at a higher level than adversity ever does. Because I do think when you're operating at a high level, it's very tempting for it to go to your head, right? I think of King David, for example. King David, everyone's heard of him, right? Everyone's heard of King David, right? The guy who slayed Goliath, right? A teenager slayed him. And I think a powerful kind of, you said earlier, you learn from others' mistakes, right? So to learn from him, King David was on a high for years, right? King of Israel was prospering. They were whooping everybody's butt, right? The Philistines, everybody, right? They won every battle. And during the season where the king should have been out there fighting, he decided to stay back, right? When he should have been fighting, when he should have been on the front line for his team, he decided to stay back and kind of chill. Why? I would argue because maybe it got to his head. He's like, I've made it. I'm good. I can chill. And that's when Bathsheba entered the scene, right? And then that's when, we know the story, right? He slept with Bathsheba. Bathsheba was married to another man. Then he tried to get that other man killed. He was successful.
Sent him to the front lines.
Yes.
That was crazy.
And then if you actually study the scripture, that was actually the downfall of his kingdom, right? It was at that moment where his kingdom started to go down, right? And if you actually read it by the time King David died, like a lot of crazy stuff happened, right? Like one of his sons like raped one of his daughters, which like that's insane. Imagine dealing with that as a human. Yeah. So one of your sons raped one of your daughters. I mean, I know it's a pretty graphic subject, but a lot of the times we hear about King David, and he was a great guy, but victory took him out, unfortunately. It did. It took him out, and that was the downfall of his kingdom, unfortunately, And I think it's important to have this kind of humility of, like you said, like still operating like, cool, I'm still broke. I'm still driving that Sentra. I'm still driving this Ford 2001 Ford Mustang. I wish I still had that car. I did. I wish I still had it. Or I've been looking for a photo of in it for so long. I've yet to find one. I hope one day it'll come up and I can do like a comparison of
that MySpace account back.
I tried. It's almost impossible to retrieve your password on it.
So one thing I'll say is that also, that what I prepare for, and I got this from David Goggins, absolute savage, is that like even now where we're at, we need to prepare, right? Because life happens. Something's going to happen. We need to prepare for a valley, right? We need to prepare. The enemy's going to come at us in some way, shape, or form. We need to prepare for a valley. John, you've gone through, a couple different events in your career with our office and everything that could have not took you out, took our entire company out, right? But you got through those valleys, and life just is gonna have valleys for all of us, right? Whether it be, in sales, you go through a dry spell, whatever, but also in marriage, Stetson, your rookie year of marriage, I know you're gonna crush it, like Kobe rookie year, LeBron rookie year, but for all of us, there is struggle ahead, right? There is struggle ahead. And for us to prepare just mentally for it now, whatever that might look like, you know what I mean? Because then when it comes, it's not a surprise. It's not going to knock you on your back, but you're there, you're prepared, ready for it, like a soldier for battle, right? Because it's coming. It's it's just life, right? Things happen, and in marriage, right? Like for me right now, like my marriage, like trying to find that balance, and us being able to, my wife will tell me like, dude, you should just take the rest of the year off. I'm just like, what are you talking about? But I also love, what you shared about before about having your significant other be bought in on your vision and have them, the specific things, right? Having your significant other bought in on your vision and them it's not my vision, right? It's not your vision, Stetson. It's not your vision, John. It's you all's vision. Mm-hmm. It's you and Josie's vision, right? It's you and Nadia's vision. It's me and Jenny's vision, right? Because if it's like, babe, buy in on my vision, she's just like, dang, what am I trying, right? Yeah. But it's our vision. Like you know what I mean? Not just mine. It's our vision. And if they have a piece, that's what I got really just from listening to that. If they're bought in, but if they have like in sales, like you said yesterday, we want to help the homeowners come to the decision themselves. We want our significant others to say, hey, I have a huge part in this too, and I want this as well, right? Yeah. So,
It's like Inception.
Yeah.
Has to be their idea.
Yeah, I freaking love it. It's a great movie.
Bars.
It's great. So, in our last few moments here, what would you guys say are some of the habits that have allowed you guys to get the results you have today, right? I'm sure some people will listen to this. They want to hear some tangible, some things they can apply right away. I know listening to both of you guys, a common theme is the mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And I would say there's a saying that goes like, ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice, mm-hmm. right? Meaning like the person who in their minds, they believe they can, even if they're ignorant to the product, they're ignorant to the market, but if in their minds they believe they can, mm-hmm. right? That tends to be better than the guy who knows the product, knows the pitch, knows the close, but in their minds they have self-doubt, right? So, what are some practical, the mindset is one of them, right? It's like, cool, get your mind in check. And I agree with that. That's huge. Get your mindset in check, right? Like, do the work to feed your mind good content, whether it be through a book, an audiobook, journaling, meditating, praying, going to church, getting around freaking amazing individuals who, when you get around, you're not talking about the Kardashians, but you're talking about your visions, your goals, right? Get your wife on the same page, right? All those things. Beyond that, what would you guys say are some habits that you guys have today that have allowed you to get the freaking crazy numbers that, again, you guys will both do over $1 million, and that's just in personal install commission. Right, that's insane to be able to do that. What are some habits that you guys have?
I would say just like leading from the front always, like with my office and the guys that I work with. Obviously I grew up playing team sports and like in the game of basketball. Like if you want to be like a leader on the team, don't be mad at your teammates for not playing defense if you're not hustling back on defense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Don't be mad if they're not fighting over a screen if you're not willing to fight over that screen. And people that don't play basketball have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But it's totally fine. Basically, I just mean don't ask your teammates to do things that you're not willing to do yourself. And that's truly what I believe in. And I would say that, and then just whether you're working with a team, with an office, or whether it's yourself, find out what works and create a system out of that.
Wow.
Yeah. That's to good. Where it's just a habit. It's just what we do. I don't it's just like I'm going, like I'm not going to work today. I'm just like I'm going to sign 2 or 3 deals. It's just it's happening. It's what we do. It's the system.
You don't think about it. You just do it.
Yeah.
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 It's good.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, exactly what he said. Just go do the work, right? You just have to go out and do the work. Like for me, like a practical thing is I just treated it in the beginning, I treated it like a 9 to 5, right? So I'm like, look, I'm just going to work. I just go out and work every day. Like, what do you mean? Like if I was still working a normal job, which I did for many, many years, you don't just not show up. Yeah. Right? You have to show up, right? So just number one, going out and doing the work. And I just always am willing, like, to really put up high numbers. I'm just always willing to take an appointment. If we want to be real, I'm always willing to take an appointment. Hey, they can't meet till 9:30. All right, babe, yo, I got a 9, right? Yeah. And I'm just always willing to take the appointment. And I'm just hungry. Like, this is the thing. You need to be a master at your craft. If we would just get practical, whatever you're doing, whether you're in sales or whether you're just trying to excel in your relationship or with your family members or friends, whatever, you need to, for like friendship, you need to learn what your friends like, or learn what that person you're chasing after, learn what they like, learn what their love language is, right? Like you said, there's so much information out here. It's nuts. It's crazy. So, but you need to be a master. Like for a brand new person that you're gonna knock a door, if you guys do door knocking, you need to. I tell people, you want to make your pitch like your story, right? Like, and when I say that, I say, if I ask you, John, what'd you do yesterday? You're just gonna tell me what you did. You're not gonna be like, because you did it yesterday, right? You know it, right? And I tell them that's how you want your pitch to be. You want it to be like yours. It's yours, not. And the only way to do that is like you have to do something for 10,000 hours to be a master at it. Yeah. You need to hit those doors, or just say your pitch. Say your pitch in the mirror. Make it so it's just like a conversation. Like you're just talking. This is normal. Yeah. Right. And people, homeowners or whatever industry you're in, even someone you're dating. First date, second date, they're sharks, right? We're people. I could see your emotion. I could see everything from your body language, everything. So when you're talking to someone and they see you're nervous or this or that, they can see that. It's like they sense blood in the water, right? Especially with these homeowners. Yeah. So I just tell people, you want to make it, just be a master at it. Right. And that's what I was just willing to do. I was like, same thing Stetson said. If I have 4 appointments, right when I wake up, I'm like, oh, I have four deals, 4 spot today, sick. Yeah. Like, I just know it's a 4 spot. Yeah. Like, I didn't know anything else. Yeah. Where some people go into, they see that, they're like, oh, I hope they close. Oh, yeah. Right. No. They kind of go into this like self-doubt where you wake up and you know that 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 you know. I was like, I got a 4 spot today. Like, oh, that's dope. Yes. Yeah. And that's awesome. That's like that manifestation, right? And it already exists in your mind before you see it in reality, right? And that's why, the Bible says without vision, people perish. You know? And you got to have a vision. It sounds like you guys have a vision, like a micro vision every day. Like every day you wake up and you already visualize how today's going to go. Oh, cool. I got 4 appointments today. Yep, 4 spot. Done. And then actually 5 spot because Stetson's going to go get a same date on the street. Yeah. Like he always does. He knocks one door and just checks out. He says solar and the guy's like, oh yeah, I'll sign up. So that's great, guys. So, we're wrapping up here. In the last few moments here, share with us where we can find you. Like what social media platform are you at? If, people want to connect with you guys, like where are you guys most active at? Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram, Stetson Soffer. Follow your boy. Yeah. Coach, let's go. Yeah, and my SoundCloud, I used to be a rapper. SoundCloud, Soffer D. You follow me on there too. Guys are to go platinum right now. The tracks are like 10 years old, but still give them a listen. Let's go. They're fire. I've seen this guy rap. They're dope. They're dope. You get some drinks on him? Woo. Yeah. I'll come out of retirement after a couple shots. On Instagram also, Win with Jack. It's my handle on there. You definitely win. Yeah, you man. Definitely we got to win, and I'm just excited about this group. I'm excited about everything that's going on, because it's to the moon. You guys already know, that's right? And just encourage everyone, just connect with someone. If you're in San Diego, connect with us. Hit us up on Instagram or something, and because you want to win at a level, I can't tell you what level people want to win on, but whatever it is, go out and find someone that's doing it or wants what you have, right? Yeah. And man, let's get it.
That's it. Yeah, don't try to do it on your own. Right? There's a saying, don't reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, there's a lot of people in solar, for example, that are crushing it. Just do what they're doing, right?
That's it.
And then rinse and repeat, and then do it. And then as you get better, you can kind of modify and make your own thing. So thank you guys so much for
sir.
hopping on.
Yes, sir.
This is awesome. Gonna have to have you guys on here again, right? But thank you also to the audience for tuning in to the You Can Do Hard Things podcast. We will catch you next time.